Citi, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and SBI of Japan were in charge of trade wars. A study from Ripple says that between 2020 and 2024, 345 deals worth a total of over $100 million will be made in blockchain investments. Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel, XRP family. As always, thank you guys. Let's check out the market, guys. I guess it's the beginning of a new week. The market looks great right now. It looks like XRP is up 5%, which is a pretty big jump for XRP, believe it or not. I like what I see here, but the market as a whole is also going up right now, which is great to see. It is clear that it is the beginning of a new week. But before we go any further, I want to make it clear that nothing on this channel is meant to be taken as financial advice. Always read up on things and do your own study. When you put money into crypto, XRP's price is $302, which is up 4.1% compared to Bitcoin's value. It is worth almost $179 billion, and about $4.9 billion worth of XRP is traded every 24 hours. Anyway, let's take a quick look at what's really going on. I want to talk about a lot of things with you guys in this post, so it's a very, very important one. Looking at this first, because I don't want to ruin the mood or anything, take a look at this. Cointelegraph shared it. Historically, August and September have been bad months for Bitcoin. This is just based on history, right? This is very clear for you to see. It has been negative most of the time, but it was bullish last year and again in 2023. Will that trend continue? Let us now see what takes place. That being said, I think September will be bigger this time because there might be a rate cut, which I think is very, very likely. This time, we might be able to tell the difference. You already know what I think about October, November, and December. There should be good news for the market as a whole. But this one thing we need to take into account, keep this in mind as we go through the rest of this update. It will help you understand where I'm coming from. Also, take a look at what Trump says about crypto. It could be the biggest change in financial technology since the internet began. He has also done a lot for Bitcoin. Almost since he took office, the digital asset space has gone through a complete 180-degree turn. Things are happening that we never thought would be possible. For example, the Genius Act is a big step in the right direction. And when you have a president like Donald Trump talking a lot about crypto in a good way, will there ever be a time when companies based in the US will have some kind of reason to use crypto? Again, there have been big rumors about this for a while now. Is it really happening? If so, do you think that might happen? If that does happen, you know what we mean by super cycle? I believe that would be a very important spark for a possible super cycle. But now look at this. There is now an 80% chance that rates will go down in September. So you can check this out for yourself. So this is where I stand, being very sure that if this were to happen, again, we've been aiming for September to be the month when the rate cuts finally happen. September is what I think will happen. For crypto in general, it might be a big month. I don't think BTC will go crazy, but I think altcoins will really do well. I even think Bitcoin will have a green month instead of a red one. You can see that August 2025 was 1.78%. It's also clear that February and March were red months. So keep these things in mind. If you disagree, please let me know in the comments. In spite of that, the amount of work needed to mine Bitcoin has reached a record high of $127.6 trillion. What does this really mean? I'm going to tell you about this. If you own XRP, this is important because it would change the price of XRP if the things I'm talking about happen. Yeah, of course, we're sharing, and I'm telling you, it's not giving up, even though I know a lot of people will mistake this for it. When miners sell in a hurry because they're no longer making money, this is called capitulation. What would that need then? As the mining challenge keeps going up, let's say that BTC flush does happen. That would be a sign that BTC is about to give up. So let's kind of talk about the chance of that happening. Could that really mean that August is a bit of a shakeup before we start getting ready for September and the end of the year? Perhaps. Remember how people who run markets think. A lot of people forget that when market makers think that way, they know what's going on. Considering that BTC did drop to 112, could it go down even more? Could we really drop even more? Perhaps. We'll talk more about the price movement later, but for now, take a look at this. Along with Build, BlackRock, and Ripple XRP are working together to turn real-world assets, health data, and personal data into tokens. Very big for RWAs. Undoubtedly, RWAs have been talked about every single time in the past 12 months. There are more and more examples like this of how it keeps getting bigger. But look at this, Vanek. Bitcoin is like gold in the digital world. At some point, will be worth half as much as real gold. Point of view, something very interesting. Each Bitcoin coin would be worth about $500,000 USD if it reached half of the value of real gold. Now think about what the price of XRP would be, and that's a great question to ask yourself since we're going by history. As long as it's been around, XRP has been able to claim a spot in the top third. Without a doubt, we're now down to 5 or 6 people from when that case was first announced and the initial fear-mongering began, but it has made a claim and kept building, making big changes in the business world and bringing blockchain technology to a lot of people. Once more, you might think, we're making predictions again based on what we know from the past. When Bitcoin is worth this much, you would expect a strong utility project like XRP to have a real-world use case. This is especially true since Bitcoin has stayed in the top third. Clearly, that's going to be very good for XRP. A lot of other people feel the same way. Obviously, time is the most important thing, but we could make educated guesses based on taking a more realistic look at it rather than just sitting here saying it will go to $100, $300 or whatever. Sometimes I see prices of $100,000 and I just don't understand how people come up with these numbers. Still, a very, very interesting point of view. Please tell me what you think in the comments section below. In any case, take a look at this. X-Finance Bull says that even though they said XRP was dead, BlackRock, Fidelity, NASDAQ, BNY, Citi, CME, and DBS are now bringing their top executives to Ripple to talk about tokenization, stablecoins, XRP, and other things. That's a great point. A lot of these people didn't like crypto, but Monica Long said in an interview that Stuart, Brad Gerlinghouse, and all of these other big CEOs of crypto companies, not just Ripple, are now pretty much market-wide. It's clear that the market has come a long way since Trump took office because the tone has changed. This story from DBS in July 2025 confirms that Ripple is planning an IPO for 2026, with a valuation that is already higher than Circle's record listing. The IPO of Ripple will set a lot of records on the New York Stock Exchange, and I totally agree with that based on my own opinion, which is something we've talked about on the show. There's no doubt that they said they wouldn't do an IPO this year, but they didn't say that we wouldn't do it at all. Brad Greenlinghouse has said that they would like to do an IPO. It seems like they are planning ahead. And based on what we've seen recently with Circle, I have no question that Ripple would do really well. It's crazy to think that Sean is also going. Please tell me what you think about this in the comments. But first, let's look at what's going on. That means control is still pulling down. You guys know how important the 61.089% range is. It's our main lows for the dominance, and we want to keep going below that. So far, so good for BTC. 114,600 BTC is having a little trouble pushing above the 115K range. There is resistance for us, so I'm not surprised that we're having a little trouble breaking out. We're still not out of the woods yet. If we can't make our way back up to the 120K range, we're not out of the woods yet. As I said before, maybe, just maybe, you do see market makers really coming in and we do see a flush based on the mining data I'm seeing. Also, August has always been a bearish month. We'll see what takes place. Those are important things to keep in mind, but let's look at what's going on with the price of XRP right now. You guys can make up this XRP price thing here. The price we were able to get back was more than $3. The psychological level we talked about is in this area. You can see this for yourself without a doubt. This is something you can make up. We're right on the queue at the $3 price point. Very cool to see. We'd love to see a close above this range. Of course, that would mean more losses to $3.16 and a start to the ascent to all-time highs, but things are looking good so far. Let's hope that BTC doesn't change hands. Even if BTC had a shakeout, a control pulls down more. That might be the best thing that could happen, but I don't think it will. That would have an effect on the market as a whole if BTC went through a big drop, maybe a little bit of a shakeout before September and beyond. We are going to do it one step at a time. Again, please tell me what you think in the comments below. Guys, know that waiting is the most important thing to keep in mind if you want to stay together for a long time. I love all of you. Enjoy your time on CryptoZX and have a nice day.